Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about the Rebellion presale coming up and really hop into some of the numbers here to see if Rebellion could be a smashing success for DEC, or might it be a little bit of a flop? And we're going to go into some numbers here, and I apologize for those of you who don't like data, who don't like math or numbers. This might be not your cup of tea, but the conclusions I think you're going to want to stick around for. So without further ado, let's take a look at this. I'm recording this on Saturday evening. This is October 14th. And what I want to show you is if you're on Tribal Decks here, I pulled some data basically from Tribal Decks here. I was using the DEC volume for the token price on Hive. And I basically took the data for DEC traded since Aggie hinted really over a month ago on a town hall that Rebellion was coming sometime this year, 2023. And what I did is I compiled all this data here. You can see I started the day of Aggie's announcement on the town hall. It was August 28th. And I basically tallied up the DEC volume for the last, well, I guess month and a half. And what is interesting here, I want to share some of the data here. You don't want to see all the individual data, but what's interesting here, the total DEC volume that's traded on Hive, that essentially has been bought and sold on Hive since August 28th, is roughly 85.365 million DEC. And why is that important? Because that is basically the net, let's say, purchases of DEC or consolidation of DEC for those that might have been wanting to gather DEC for Rebellion packs and Rebellion presales. Now, obviously not 100% of that is going to Rebellion packs, but we can surmise that that's probably a good indicator of people stocking up on DEC potentially for Rebellion. Now, could also be people stocking up DEC for land, could be people needing rentals or buying cards, all that stuff. Now, there's also other chains outside of Hive that has DEC, like Binance, Ethereum, and others that have liquidity pools. But we're going to assume that most of the DEC trading and buying is done on Hive blockchain. So what do we do with that number? What's interesting about that number? Well, let's look at some other stuff. The total DEC needed to sell out the presale, which is 500,000 Rebellion packs. If you look at people using the maximum vouchers during that purchase, is 2 billion DEC. And that's not surprising. That number has been discussed for quite some time in the community as being a number that, you know, would be the sellout DEC burn, potentially, not burn, but basically going either to the DAO or to the company. What's interesting about this number is 2 billion DEC. You can see that is much, much larger than 85.3 million DEC that's basically been bought on Hive since the announcement of Rebellion this year. And what also is interesting, if we look at land, right, there's 150,000 plots of land total in Splinterlands. And why am I looking at land here as part of this data set? Well, the question will be for many is, well, many people may have already bought DEC for land, and maybe some of them want to divert some of that DEC from staking cards on land to buying Rebellion packs, perhaps, because we don't know when land will drop. Well, this is the interesting part, because if we do some of the data here to see how much DEC might have been purchased for land, and we add that to the DEC volume that's been purchased since August 28th, it gives us an idea of how perhaps prepared people are to purchase Rebellion packs during the presale. So walk with me through this exercise. If we have 150,000 total plots of land, and we can use for a model that 30% of land would be planned to be worked on the initial launch of LAN 1.5. Again, I have a video on that estimate. If you're curious where I'm getting that 30% number, that means 45,000 plots in this particular example or illustration would be potential candidates for going live with LAN launch. Now, if we say that of that 45,000 plots of 30% of land being worked initially, people staked 50,000 or the max DEC per plot of land. That means land would consume 2.25 billion DEC on top of the 2 billion DEC that would require for a Rebellion pre-sale sellout. Now, what's interesting here is if, let's say, 100% of all the landowners said, we're skipping land, land's never coming, we're all buying Rebellion packs for that land, and they had allocated 50,000 or max 50,000 DEC per plot of land at 30% utilization, it means that the total number of Rebellion packs that could be purchased during an initial pre-sale, if they were available, with all of the land DEC plus all of the DEC volume that had been purchased since August 28th, would be 583,841 Rebellion packs. So in essence, if everyone had planned to use maximum DEC on land, which we know they didn't, so stick with me here, and they had all the DEC that was purchased on Hive blockchain since August 28th was all used in the pre-sale, we would sell out all 500,000 Rebellion packs and have about 83,000 and change left over to be consumed in the general sale. I think it's safe to assume that not every landowner had 50,000 DEC per plot of land set aside. Not all landowners are going to participate 100% in the Rebellion pre-sale, and not all of this 85 million DEC that's been purchased in the last month and a half is going to the Rebellion sale. But what does that show us? It shows us that indeed it's possible that no more DEC would need to be bought, and we would still potentially sell out the Rebellion pre-sale. But here's the thing, if we get to a more realistic model here, and we say that on average of the 30% of land holders that were going to go live on land release, 20,000 DEC on average was basically procured or purchased for land. That means the amount of DEC more realistically set aside for land launch is 900 million. So let's go through the same example. Let's say that 100% of all these landholders say we're skipping land, we're not doing anything with land, we're just buying Rebellion packs instead. So you take 900 million DEC allocated for land, and you take the 85 million that was purchased in the last month and a half. And what it tells you is that a more realistic number of, if all landowners decided to buy Rebellion, the total packs purchased in the pre-sale would be 246,341 approximately under that model. And that's selling out basically almost half the pre-sale. So now you have to ask yourself, it's probably not realistic for 100% of land owners to buy Rebellion packs. So you can kind of get a guesstimate of where the current DEC holdings that exist in the ecosystem would be for land. And it's probably somewhere less than 246,000 packs would sell on a pre-sale. Now, the question that you want to ask yourself is, do you think that, let's say, more than 150,000 Rebellion packs will sell during the pre-sale? And if so, what that tells you is the landholders that might have been hoarding DEC, plus all the DEC purchased in the last month and a half, is not enough to purchase probably that number of packs in the pre-sale. So what it tells you is between October 14th, which is today, and when the pre-sale goes live, if you're estimating that more than 150,000, or I'm getting 150,000 as an estimate because 246 would be the max in this example with landholders coming in, and not 100% of landholders are going to come in. But just as a kind of a order of magnitude number, if you're thinking that that number might be overachieved during the pre-sale for Rebellion, well, then it means that more DEC would need to be purchased between now and the pre-sale in order for that to happen. Now, what's interesting here is right now the current price of DEC is around 0.091. I guess it's Splintoshis here. I'm not sure exactly how we want to call that, but it's 0.091, where peg is it's 0.00091, where peg is 0.001. In either case, it's at 91% of peg tonight. Now, what's interesting here is if the pre-sale were to sell out for Rebellion, which is 500,000 packs, or again, 2 billion DEC, the volume in dollars, US dollars, of 2 billion DEC at the DEC's current price is $1.82 million. And why is that important? Because I want to share with you tonight, on October 14th, today's 24-hour DEC volume on Hive is $34,254. So you can see there's a big disparity or difference between 1.82 million and 34,000, yet we're at almost 91% of par or peg here for value for DEC on just $34,000 in volume. So where am I going with all these numbers that are spinning around here on this video? Well, it comes down to that if we are going to purchase or sell out the pre-sale at 500,000 packs this next week, much more DEC would probably need to be purchased for that pre-sale within the next few days. And obviously 34,000 in volume has moved DEC 91% to peg. And we can see the difference here. You know, a lot more volume would be necessary to get the amount of dollars in DEC liquid to be able to purchase those packs in DEC. And the reason why many people would probably purchase those packs in DEC is because there's still a 9% discount if you use DEC to purchase your packs in bulk, perhaps. Now, where am I going with this? Well, today we had a high price of DEC. DEC almost got to peg today. I have a screenshot of it. I did capture it before it did start to dip a little. But DEC got to 97% of peg earlier this evening on October 14th in the US. 97% of peg. On, again, today's volume was only $34,254. So it's very likely that if a lot of DEC is being hodled and held by those who are holding it for land or those who are planning to purchase Rebellion packs in the pre-sale, it very much could happen that DEC hits peg and shoots above peg and we start burning SPS as part of the flywheel very quickly here during this pre-sale run-up or even during the pre-sale itself, which is crazy. And you can definitely make some plans around that potentially if you understand and know that data. Now, again, none of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing you some of the modeling and some of the data here so you can take it and do whatever you want to with it. But what I would say, my general summary, if I look at some of this data here, is Rebellion, if you believe that Rebellion will be successful and has a possibility to sell out at 500,000 packs during the pre-sale, well, DEC hitting peg seems like almost a sure thing. And then if you look at my video from just the other day talking about the 1-2 combination, if somehow land could get launched sometime soon after Rebellion presale happens, there really could be fireworks, because we saw DEC hit 90% of peg on $34,000 in volume today. And again, we've only had 85 million DEC bought in the last month and a half. So if we think that Rebellion is going to be a successful set, it is going to be widely adopted, it is going to be purchased in large quantities, well, things can get very, very spicy here in the Splinterlands ecosystem pretty quick. This is just a bulletin. This is a PSA. Rebellion could very much be a smashing success for DEC, even in the pre-sale, not even counting the land effects. Let's see. Again, a lot of this is still to be determined, but I wanted to share with you some of this initial data that I was running so you would have it and you can do your own analysis, do your own data crunching, and see what you see. So until next time, keep stacking those stats.